Good morning to all of you. I think I am audible and my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Good morning.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir, audible.
So, this is the batch of 1923, and those who have in second semester previously know me and have my class of C programming in second semester. But after that, those who have joined as a lateral candidate didn't have any class of mine. Okay, so to them, I am a new in class. Okay, as a taking a class to them, I am a new, but those who is a regular student knows me previously from their second semester. Okay, so without wasting much time, we are going to move directly to the class. So in this semester, in your fifth semester actually, I am going to take your two subjects. That first one is the Linux programming and second one is the data communication. Okay, so two subjects I am going to take for you people, Linux programming and data communication. So this Linux programming have lab also. So Linux programming have a lab, but data communication don't have any lab. Okay, so before entering to the topic of Linux, first I will try to or I will explain that what are the course or what are the syllabus included in your Linux. Okay, and what is the objective of this particular subject. So why I'm studying, why we are studying it. Okay, so the syllabus is already shared in the group, so everyone can check it. So in this Linux programming class, actually, there are four objectives or the course objectives. CO means we can say this is a course objective. So what is the course objective for this particular topic or particular subject? We can say that first one, that is able to understand the basic commands of Linux programming, Linux operating system, and can write any shell script. Okay, means that after going through the topics of each modules, so we are going to learn something. So if we are trying to study something, so we have an objective that why we are studying it, what is the need of studying that particular subject, right? So these are the objectives that why we are going to study this particular Linux subject. First one, after having the modules or after having a discussion on the topics of the modules, we are going to understand the commands of Linux. Okay, now coming to the topic of commands of Linux, there are a lot of commands in Linux, and it is, I can say that we need to study hard and we need to remember each and every command. Okay, previously we have C programming, and in your third semester or fourth semester you have Java, D means all of this particular C and Java is a programming, means we can say that it is a programming topic where we can write something in code or we are coding by that particular language of C and Java. But in C and Java, what is actually that there is some header files, we know it, and after that we need to write some logics. But here in the Linux programming, it is a OS based programming, it is an operating system based programming. So there the commands are different and each command have a particular purpose to serve. Okay, not like that every time we can write a particular command for every work. So for every particular different work, suppose to make a directory, there is a particular command. To create a directory, there is a particular command. To move a directory, to move a folder, to rename a folder, all the things are have specific command, and without writing the specific command we cannot execute any particular task, right? So this Linux is a particular operating system. We have previously the concept of Windows. Most of us are familiar with Windows, okay, because we used Windows and we feel very comfortable to use Windows because it is a very user friendly. We don't need to think much. We have everything in our keyboard and mouse. Just we need to visualize and we can serve the work. Okay, I would like to all of you please kindly mute yourself because there is noise coming. Okay. So we are very much familiar of Windows, and we feel very easy to work on Windows. But the Linux is an operating system that is also very user friendly if we knows it, and it is a very secure operating system. Why secure? I am saying that because in Windows there are some security threats. There are some virus particular threats, and these particular threats are present in our Windows. But in Linux, it is a very secured. So the threats of virus and any security threats are very less comparing to Windows in Linux. So the Linux is very easy, and also it is very user friendly. Second one, the CO2, it is saying that able to create the file system directories and operate them. Okay. In Windows, if we are trying to make a folder, what we do, just right click on the mouse, go to the new and creating a folder, right? But in Linux, for particular thing, there is to create a directory, we can create a folder, and every of these have some particular command. And by using this particular simple command, we can create a file, directory, or folder, whatever we want. Third one, a fork system. Fork is a system call. So as I said, Linux is an operating system, and it is the programming is totally based on operating systeming command. So system calls are there. We can use fork. So the concept of system calls, how the calls of system is working, how we can call a system or a system function in operating system of Linux. We are going to learn that. We are going to study that, and we are going to know that each and every topic, and also creating the memory segments, sharing the memory segments, managing the messaging queues, or process communication. So all of these are the features of an operating system, and we are going to learn how to manage or how to work this operating system, or how to familiar with this particular operating system, right? Now, there are the syllabus I have already shared, but still I am going to just going through just quickly of the modules. That first one, this is a Linux utilities. It is a module one where we are going to learn about the file handling utilities, means the commands. What are the commands available to process any file? Security for file permissions, then some shell programming, then some networking commands, test command, means some commands or the utilities. What are the commands in our Linux? We are going to learn in the Linux utilities in the module 1. In the module 2, there is the topic of files and directories, means working on files and directories. Module 3, the process. What are the process? Means in Linux programming, the processes, how many type of process, how the processes are working. All the related topic of process we are going to see there. And in the module 4, the inter-process communication, or IPC, we can say that how to communicate between the inter-processes. Maybe there is n number of processes are there. So how to communicate it between each and every processes. Because if we are not having a connection between each and every processes, then a task cannot be completed. So we need to learn also that. And the module 5, the shared memory, the kernel, all of the things. So totally we are going to learn after the module 5 the 80% of the picture of the Linux operating system, how to use it, how, what are the commands, how to handle the files, how to handle the directories, what are the process of IPC, what are, why, how we can share the memory. All of these things we are going to learn with the topic of Linux and the modules. Okay, so moving to the part of the first topic today we are going to discuss, that is the basics. Okay, we are going to start from the basics. So I am considering that no one of you have any idea of Linux. Okay, so I am starting from the very basic of Linux, that is, what is a Linux actually? As I said, it is an operating system. What is a Linux? A very simple answer, that Linux is the operating system, because it is just another platform, just like Windows. We have Windows. Basically, most of us having Windows in our PC or laptop, and but very of us, maybe one or two is using the Linux or Ubuntu, whatever it is. Okay, so it is an operating system of Unix like operating system. Okay, you have Unix, we have Ubuntu, and Unix and Ubuntu, this Unix type operating system is a Linux, and it is a very open source. Okay, Windows, we can get it free. We can say that whether Windows is also open source. But yes, we can get the Windows, but we cannot use all the features of Windows till we have a product license. So here we can say that Windows is not totally an open source, because if we are not buying the or purchasing the actual Windows from the Windows company, okay, so we cannot have the access of all the features. There are many features of Windows we cannot use if we have any a crack version. Okay, but Linux is totally open source. No need to pay anything. We can have all the features. We can access all the features of Linux. So Linux is a open source Unix like operating system, and there is a Linux kernel is present, and the kernel is developed in such a way that the totally the process or of the operating system can work smoothly. So this Linux, what are the features? Why we are going to study about the Linux? What are the basic features of Linux? First one, the basic features is saying that is the portable. So portable, we can say that portability means we can use any type of software, as we can use any type of software in Windows also, but we can use any type of software in our Linux also. So Linux is also a portable, and as I said, Linux kernel is designed in such a way that we have all the feature and accessibility to all the features in the operating system without paying anything. So the portability of using any particular software or any particular hardware, combination of both, is the one of the basic features of Linux. As I said, the second one is the open source. As I've already described, that open source, don't need to pay anything. Okay, we can get it free and we can use it free. So Linux don't need to pay anything. Multi-user. So it is a multi-user system. Linux is a multi-user system, means many users, n number of users can access the system's resources. So any user in particular desktop, any n number of users can use the particular operating system, can share the memory, can share the application program within processes. So this is the multi-user features is there, and multi-programming also is there. Multi-programming is also present in our Windows also. So multi-programming is also present in our Linux also. So these are the basic features of Linux. So portable, open source, multi-user and multi-programming. Multi-user and multi-programming. Now, there are three more features. That is, one is saying as hierarchy of file system, shell, and security. So that's one. Coming to the last one, that is the security. As I said, that Linux have much more security rather than Windows. So password protection, access to specific files, encryption of data, these are the features that is included in the Linux, and that's why this Linux is very much secure, much more secure, as we can say. So Linux have a root directory. Okay, so the root directory, what is this? We can consider this root directory as the start of the file system. So whenever we are going to start a Linux operating system, we are going to entering, first of all, it is going to run the root system. So there are some files, there are some commands present in our root system, and the root system or the root directory, after particularly running that particular root directory, then all the features or all the things is available. So there is a root directory present in our Linux, and in the particular root directory, there are some subdirectories also present. That is the name, we can say example, that bin subdirectory, tmp subdirectory, dev subdirectory. So there are some subdirectories also present. Okay. Linux, one more thing, that is that Linux is very much fast rather than Windows. Okay, Linux, if we have a very old generations PC or laptop, okay, just like we are considering some 2 GB RAMs, okay, 500 GB hard disk. So this with no graphics card is present. Okay, in this particular system, that is an old generation system comparing to the latest of the PCs or the features of PC and desktop, the old generation systems can use Linux and in a very smooth way. Okay, and it is the in that particular system also it is very fast comparing to Windows. So Linux is very fast comparing to Windows. This is one of the most very basic features also of Linux. Okay. And also, if we're talking about the Linux features, and also we can consider the advantages of Linux, that is the low cost. Okay, cost means there is no cost actually. Low cost means there is no cost. We don't need to pay a single penny for this Linux particular operating system to buy something. We can go directly to the Linux or Ubuntu in our Google, and we can directly download from their official website without paying a single rupees. So the low cost features of the Linux: stability, performance, network friendliness, flexibility, compatibility, choice, fast and easy installation, full of use of hard disks, multitasking, security, open source. So there are many more advantages we can see of Linux. Stability, if we are talking about the stability, that is, it don't need to reboot it to maintain our system. Okay, in Windows we clearly need to maintain, we need to check that whether how much file are present in our recycle bin, how much file is actually present in our temp file, cache file. We need to clear the cache memory, we need to check out all the things, the performance monitoring system in Windows maybe in a week, but in Linux we don't need to do these particular things. Okay, so there comes the term stability. So stability, it is rebooted, we don't need to reboot, we don't need to check, or we need to contain the system periodically, we don't need to monitor the system periodically. Okay, performance, as I said, that it is very much faster in our old generation PCs also, where we don't get hanged or any type of problem will be there in Linux. Okay, so this is a very much high speed performance giving. Network friendliness, it is quite similar of Windows, because if we have an internet connection, so internet friendly system is both. So that is not too much advantage I can say. Flexibility, here it is that we can also use that server application, high performance server application. To use any high performance application in Windows, we need a high configured PC, but in Linux we can run it smoothly. There will be no lag, there will be no hang up, things will be hang up scenario will be there. So flexibility is there to use the high performance server applications, desktop applications, any embedded system. Just like I'm giving an example that in your upcoming semester, just like talking about sixth semester, there will be a topic of data science where we are going to learn the things on Python. So for the app, for running that particular data science or Python, we need to run some Python applications. So this Python application is a very heavy software, just like considering of Spider, Jupyter, Anaconda. So in a high configured Windows also, it sometimes it takes much time to compile the code, to generate the output of the code. Okay, so flexibility in that scenario, that is much better in Linux. Okay, we can use the high performance system application, the any type of embedded system application, any type of desktop application also. Compatibility, it can use any type of packages. There is many much packages also present in our Linux, so we can use many packages and can process all the common file formats. Fast and easy installation, no means nothing, there is no trouble at all to install it, is very easy. Full use of hard disk, there we can use the hard disk, the usage of hard disk we can use fully. In Windows there is some space is considered or taken by the system files, so we cannot have the full accessibility or full usage of the hard disk, but in Linux we can use it fully. Multitasking and security I have already discussed, and open source, so don't need to discuss these particular topics. Okay, so there are some particular names of Linux, that is the Red Hat, Fedora, Debian, Ubuntu. Okay, and all of these common features of GUI. So Linux, it is a single term, and we can say there are the name, there are different type of names of this particular Linux operating system. Some called it Ubuntu, there are name Ubuntu, there are Red Hat, there are SUSE, there are Debian. So there are many type of Linux operating systems are present, but the features, the advantages of all are the same. Okay, now there is a particular thing, that's the architecture, the Linux system architecture. There are 3-4 things actually in the architecture, Linux system architecture. First one is the hardware layer, second one is the kernel, third one is the shell, and fourth one is the utilities file. Hardware layer means the consisting of the peripheral devices, just like the RAM, the hard disk, HDD, SDD, whatever it be, the graphics card if it is present, the sound card, the network device, whatever the means, it is the totally consist of the hardware. So whatever the hardware is installed or hardware is present in our PC, that is the hardware layer. Kernel, it is, we can say that this kernel is actually doing the whole thing. The kernel is actually responsible to maintain the communication between the hardware and the software. So there are extra layer is added, that is the kernel layer. So this kernel is the core component, or it is the main particular layer, we can say, where we have the operating system, where that is actually communicating between the hardware and the system software or any other component. So this kernel is actually doing the whole thing. Shell means actually what is, if we are going to the basic meaning of shell means hiding something, covering something, to protect something, right? So the shell is actually doing the same thing in Linux. We are running all the things, we are having many tasks, we are actually operating many tasks, but what is the background code, what is the command, and what are the things actually present, that is actually hidden from the user. So there is a hidden layer, there is a hidden interface is present, that don't, the user don't know the complexity behind the Linux operating system. So a shell is actually working there. So we are going to run some shell programming, we are going to do some shell programming code, and we can see that what is the shell programming. Utilities, that is actually giving most of the functionalities of an operating system. So utilities means whatever the devices, whatever the applications, whatever the things are present in my CPU, we can have the full access, we can have the full usage of that particular things. So this is the utility. So this is the four layered architecture, that is the hardware layer, kernel, shell, and utilities. So up to this, if anyone have any type of query, they can ask, else I am going to move to the next topic. So if anyone have any type of query up to this particular part, then they can say. Okay, so I think after this particular portion, there is no query from your end. So now moving to the next topic, that is the Linux file system. Now there are some commands, there are some particular things, directory, what are the things there is present. We are going to check one by one. So from today up to next particular day, okay, there are many number of maybe 2 or 3 classes will be there where we are going to see only the commands, because there is a lot of commands are present, their number of commands are very high. So we need to learn, or we need to check every command. So maybe first few classes of Linux may seem boring to you, because this is totally some theoretical part we are going to describe. Then later on we are going to shift to the practical oriented things, because we are going to do some code, we are going to run some particular operating system, particular program. So before doing that, if we don't have the idea of the command, then it is very difficult to run this particular program or run a particular program of Linux. So to do that, to execute the program of Linux, we need to learn the code first. We need to check out the code first. So first 2 or 3 class, there will be the content, or there will be the topics we are going to discuss only about the commands. There is a lot of commands and we are going to check each and every command. Fine. First one, a root directory. Okay, as I said previously, there is a root directory, and this root directory is actually responsible for every particular file or directory that start. So whenever we are going to start a file, we are going to open a file or open a directory, that is actually starting from the root directory. The root means that is actually covering the whole thing. So root, we can say this is the head directory. So root directory we can say as a head directory. Whenever we are going to actually execute a file, execute a folder or directory, that will be start from the root directory. So this root user has the privilege to do any write operation. there are two type of operation basically, that is a write operation and the one is read operation. So to execute any type of write operation, only the root user have the permission. So root user means we can say the admin. So there is the admin privilege section is there. So root user have the permission to execute or edit any system command, not like any other, because user have the privilege to do a change on the files and folder, but any type of changes in the system folder, only the root user have the privilege to do that. Now next one is the bin. Slash bin is the user binaries. So this is the term slash bin, that is a term is called user binaries. So it contains many number of binary executables. It contains many number of binary executables. This, there are several type of commands, that is ping, grep, cp, all are some networking commands. Ping is a networking command. So this bin user binary is actually the common Linux commands. We can this whenever we are actually trying to run this particular command, that will be executed in the bin directory, the hashtag bin user directory, that is the responsible for executing that particular. So this particular common commands, that is the ping, ps, ls, grep, cp, each have these commands have some particular purpose. Ping is the command to check the networking status. So whatever the my IP is be, so that IP, whether if we have a network issue, means suppose my PC have showing that network is there, but the net is not actually working. So in that particular scenario, we actually ping that particular our IP to check whether any problems, whether any latency is there, whether any delay is there. So ping is a particular that type of networking command. So each of these particular PS, LS, grep, CP, each have a particular task. What is the task? We are going to see one by one in our upcoming topics. Okay. Hashtag sbin. So hashtag bin is the user binary, means the user created or user is actually working any type of command. Hashtag sbin is the system binaries. It is a system binaries, that is the system command can be executed under this particular directory. Bin is the user binaries where user is actually trying to run a command, but hashtag sbin is actually the system binaries that have the root permission or the admin section is actually trying to run particular command, that is that IP tables, reboot, fdix, ifconfig, swap on. So these are the system command. These are our root system command. Okay, IP table means internet protocol tables. If we are trying to pass a message over the internet, so it will trying to follow a path, it will trying to follow a route particularly, and we need to actually monitor the path, we need to actually monitor the route. So for that particular, there will be IP tables. So this is the IP table command. Reboot means to rebooting the system, fdix to flash disk, ifconfig is to check the configuration of the network, swap on. So there are the several type of commands, and if each of these commands have a particular task. Hashtag etc, etc, that is the configuration file. So first one, root, for the root directory, starting whenever we are going to start anything, that will be starting from the root directory. Second one is the bin, that is for the user. Third one is the sbin, that is used for the system binaries where the system commands will be there. Now the etc etc, that is the configuration files, it is contained. So this etc directories, this etc directories is actually containing the configuration files required by the all programs. So whatever the programs we are trying to run in our Linux, in that particular scenario, whatever the configuration file is required, we need some configuration file. So in that particular scenario, whatever the configuration file is required, we need to contain in that /etc files. So every file, every configuration file in the Linux have a particular path in the /etc directory. So it is a directory where all the configuration files that is required to run a particular program is actually stored there. So there is, we can say that it also contains some shell script to run a particular program, and it is contained in that /etc. /dev, it is a device file. /dev, if we are talking about, it is a device file. So whatever the devices connected with it, and what are the purpose or what are the connection system is between there, all the things is actually content, the information is contained in the hashtag dev, the device file. Suppose we have connected a USB or the phone via USB to the PC or a pen drive or a external hard disk. So whatever the devices that is connected with it in that particular system, that the information is stored in the hashtag slash dev, that is the device file. Slash proc, slash proc is the process communication or process information. So there are n number of processes running in every scenario because Linux is a multitasker and multi-programming system. So n number of process is also actually running at the back. We cannot see it, but at the back, n number of processes actually working. So for that, Shivam Kumar, don't try to do any type of things for which you are going to regret. Okay, so it is just a message to all. Don't do any type of things while I am trying to discuss any topic. If you are not interested to listen this topic, then you can leave the meeting. There is no issue. But if you are attending the meeting or if you are present in the meeting, so don't do any type of thing. For that, you are going to regret throughout the whole semester. Okay, maybe I will not allow you to for my upcoming classes, or maybe your marks will be not up to that mark, or maybe in my exam I am not allowing to sit you in my exam. So if you are not interested, this message is for all. If you are not interested to listen this topic, then you can leave the meeting. There will no issue. But if you are present in the meeting, then don't do any such thing. Okay, so slash proc, that is a process information. It contains the information about the system process. So what is the processes are running there for every particular things that containing the system information processes. So every process have a particular ID, means the PID we can say, that is the process ID, because we need to identify. Suppose in your batch there are 40 students are present. How we can identify each one of you? Okay, by your name we can identify, by the face physically we have seen you, but so we can recognize. Okay, but if there is a common thing by which we can identify, there is a unique thing, actually not a common thing, we can say there is a unique thing needed by which we can identify each of you. That will be the ID, maybe your university roll number, maybe the registration number, maybe the college ID. So for each and every person this is unique. So similar to that, the system, maybe n number of processes are there. So how we can identify each and every processes? So each and every processes have a particular process ID. PID we can say, that is the process ID, and this process ID is actually containing the information about the processes. So this slash proc, this particular directory is responsible for to store all the information of every processes, every PID. So slash proc is the directory to contain all the process information. Okay, slash var, that is a variables file. So variables, it is just a variable what we have the contents, whatever the user have created or for any particular things, that will be found under this particular directory, contents of the file. So this is called, that is why it is called a variable files, because maybe it is a user created, maybe it have created now, it is no use of on a later on, so we can delete it. So these are the variables files. So these variable files can be found under this particular category. So we have discussed about this 7 particular directory. We can say all the things are directory: root directory, bin directory, sbin directory, etc directory, device directory, process information directory, and variable files directory. So these are the 7 directories we have discussed today. So up to this particular part we are going to discuss today, and in the next class on the later on we are going to see the later directories and the process or the commands whatever are present. So if anyone have any doubts or any query, then they can tell me.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, what is the difference between bin directories and sbin directories?
Sbin, the term, it is actually describe the whole thing, that sbin is the system directory. So whatever the system related commands are there, whatever the system related commands are there, that is actually stored, the information is stored in the SBIN directory. So the full form of this system directory, all the subdirectory of the root directory. So root is our main directory, and under that particular there is two parts, that is a bin and SBIN. Bin is for the user. So whatever the user is actually trying to create, or if any user is trying to run a particular command, that command may be run by the user. Ping is a user command as well as a system command. So user can run the particular ping command. So in that particular scenario, if any user is running any particular command, that information will be stored in the bin directory. But any system related command, if it is running, just like the fork or fdisk, okay, or we can say reboot, IP tables, these are the system command. Okay, user don't have the privilege to run this particular command. So it is a system command. So system commands relating, showing the system information. So system information in that particular scenario, that information will be contained in the SBIN directory. Any other query?
सर प्रोसेस इंफॉर्मेशन को रिपीट कर दीजिए तो.
Process information. So process in Linux, there will be n number of processes. Okay, as I said, that process number will be n. We don't know how many processes are running at the back end. So for every processes, there will be a particular process ID. What we can say, that is a PID, a process ID. So process ID is term for every particular process, and whatever the process is actually working to store the particular information, that information will be stored in the process information directory. So for every particular process, the work of the process will be stored in the process information directory. Okay, as the time is going to end, very few seconds are left. So the attendance is open in the LMS portal in the particular Linux programming subject. So go to that particular topic and mark your attendance. 35 student is there. So all the 35 students need to mark their attendance. Okay. So go to the LMS portal, enter into, by logging into your account, you can see the Linux programming course is there. Enter into that and mark your attendance. It will be open up to 11:30. So 10 minutes window for all to mark your attendance.